So from your experience, how was the cost of living in Sydney and kind of how was that all budgeted?
I'm happy to try to go through
Sure,
this.
yeah. It's
Um,
going to be different for everybody. Obviously, finances are a personal thing and how you get them, but we do have a lot of questions about that. Is how do alumni make it work and come back and start making money and all of that whole process?
Absolutely. I guess just to even start with cost of living, I do feel the cost of living is high in Sydney, or at least comparable to Toronto. So it's kind of like depending on how close or far you want to live to the university or the hospitals that you're going to be placed at. For myself, when I actually moved in my first year, this friend that I keep referring to, she and I actually ended up living together in a studio apartment. So we shared a bedroom in the city because we both wanted the life in the city without having to live further away. But we knew that the cost was going to be higher. So for a year, we lived together there. And I don't remember how much it was, but it was definitely within my budget. And throughout the years, I kind of moved a little bit further and further out away from the city, mostly because as well for dentistry, you are placed at different hospitals all around. So some of them are even 45 minutes to an hour away from where the university itself is. And so as long as you're on a train line with public transit being really, really good in Sydney, in my opinion, you can go anywhere. So we ended up moving outwards from the city and saved quite a bit of money in some of the different areas. And as well, I did feel that a lot of the Canadian students, so people who had left their families and homes to live somewhere else, we all picked up part-time jobs. So I actually spent all of my Saturdays for 3 years, I would say, working as a dental assistant. And I gained a lot of knowledge about dentistry just by working as a dental assistant that was applicable while I was studying, would also help me afterwards. But it's all manageable depending on what you're looking for and kind of what you want. If you know that you want the lifestyle to be able to go out with friends very quickly and easily, live in the city, but live in a smaller kind of accommodation. Or if you're okay to travel a bit, there are options kind of all around everywhere.
Anything to add to that?
No, I think I share a lot of the same experiences. I did find the cost of living high. That's because their minimum wage is higher than it is here. Back then, I think we were at maybe $12 an hour minimum wage, whereas Australia was like $18 an hour, right? So, just, when you think about how the economy works, that's kind of where you're at. Like what going to the restaurant here, you could get something you can eat and drink for like 25 bucks. Let's say there in Australia, you're thinking more 35, 40, that type of thing. So, if you do want to go out, like it's a consideration. But yeah, it is manageable. The transit system is very accessible. And I ended up doing the same thing. I lived in the city for 2 years and then I ballooned out. I was in Parramatta. I don't know where you were. Do you know where were you?
I didn't end up in Parramatta, but a lot of
Okay.
my friends did.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit more in words, but yeah,
Yeah.
along the same line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as you mentioned, the minimum wage. I think it's almost up to $22 an hour now, which is wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, Sydney and Melbourne often compared to Toronto and Vancouver in that respect. And for everyone on the visa, you are able to work part-time. So you can work 20 hours a week and unlimited hours on holidays and breaks. So we do have lots of students like you, whether you worked in the field in the career direction that you want to go to, or we have a lot of people working at coffee shops too that, help fund for their tuition or just fund their traveling for breaks too, which is a really big thing for obviously international students.
Actually, may
Um,
I add as well,
of
something
course, of
that
course.
is different. I haven't been back in Canada to live for a while, so please tell me if things have changed there. But on weekends and public holidays, you get paid 1.5 times. So even though I worked Saturdays, I was making $35 an hour as a casual dental assistant. So yes, everything that we were just saying, it does add up. You can make a bit of money while you're studying.